So I think what we need to do is go back to the basics and say, look, if we're going to have port authorities, they're supposed to be there to promote the ports, to promote what the ports bring to Cleveland in the area, which is hopefully jobs, and to support the businesses that we have that can export out of the ports. We should make sure we put that as a priority and that the requirements of the membership of those port authorities be people who understand how ports operate in the transportation industry, and not the political cronies or those who have contributed greatly to the folks who point to be able to report it. We got way too much of that. I will tell you, the biggest problem I see in Ohio is cronyism. By the way, this is both parties. I saw it under the last administration. Remember I told you I got thrown off of committees? I got thrown off of committees because I challenged Bob Taft's idea of charging us $5 every time we went to a state park. We already paid for the state taxes. And they threw me off the committee. We went to classes, and I'll tell you what, 600,000 emails and letters later, you don't pay $5 when you go to the parks. We should stop the cronyism. We should stop all the political games. We should get back to the basics.
Next question is for Skip. Do you support the third frontier in the selling of bonds to support the initiative?
Well, how much time do we have? We only have 2 minutes. All right. Let me. I didn't get the snowball either, but let me say this. Let me say this to you, okay? And I would welcome anybody to come up and talk to me and have an extensive conversation with me about the third frontier after this meeting today. And by the way, Tim, I think you did a really good job. And I would agree with everything you said. But relative to the third frontier, do this for me, okay? I'm going to challenge you to do some homework. Go out to the Third Frontier website, all right? Take a look at the statistics page. They have a statistics page, and it will show you their statistics. Now, there's an old saying that says, figures never lie, but liars figure. You have to be able to read between the lines, okay? Look at the amount of money that we've invested in through the Third Frontier and how many jobs are created. People, get real. Is your expectation 9,000 jobs in Ohio in 5 years? My expectation's tens of thousands of jobs in Ohio in the last 5 years. That is a government welfare system. Am I in support of it? I don't know a whole lot about it, so I probably politically say I don't really know. But I do know this. The business climate in Ohio will not support businesses on a long-term basis if we don't fix that problem. We might have, let's say that the Third Frontier is a great program and it generates thousands and thousands of jobs. It's like putting good seed in bad ground. Over time, those green shoots are going to die off because they're not planted in sound ground. We have to fix that. Let's get our politicians focused on fixing the business environment in Ohio. We won't need the Third Frontier. We'll have businesses come into Ohio. Look at the states that are successful with businesses. Look at Texas. Look at the Carolinas. Look at all those states and then ask yourself the question, what do they have going? Do you think Texas has the Third Frontier kind of mechanisms? They got more money pouring into Texas and more companies trying to move to Texas because they don't have the complicated bureaucracies that we've got. So, relative to the Third Frontier, I challenge you, go out and do a little homework, but let's not focus on the Third Frontier. It's not generating the results that I would be happy with. I want to see bigger results.
Sandy, in 2008, Ohio suffered from massive voter fraud. How would you stop this, and what would you do to safeguard the integrity of the electoral process?
Keep it as open as possible. Now let's think about something. Let's look at our voting system. Ohio is fortunate again to have a decentralized system where all 80 counties decide for themselves what is best for their county. What works in Cuyahoga is probably not going to work in my county of Ashtabula. When you have a decentralized system, you have less chance of fraud. I didn't say no, I said less. Think about this. We're not only using different systems to vote on, we're using different vendors as well. So if I've got an organization that wants to come into Ohio and cause chaos, it is so much more difficult to do when you have a decentralized system. As far as fraud, it will be prosecuted. When I am Secretary of State, I'm not going to sit there and act like, well, I don't want to prosecute it. I absolutely will prosecute it. This is the bedrock of our whole democratic society. And if we lose confidence that our vote is being not counted or diluted by improper votes, then what do we have? We lose our whole representative democracy. So if we look at fraud, first of all, this is not a new issue. If you go back, there's documented history of fraud as long as we've been voting, and that includes long before technology. The way to fight it is to keep everything open, accountable, work with your Board of Elections. When I'm Secretary of State, if there's someone is on the board who has a record that shouldn't be on the board, then they should be gone. We need to have individuals with principles. That's the whole point in organizations like Tea Parties and 912 groups. I have newspapers saying, what does being principled have to do with Secretary of State? And I tell them, you're not deciding the issues, are you? I'm out with the voters all the time. And you know what they're asking me? They want to know that we're principled, that they want to know what we believe in, because that shows you that we're anchored. And when push comes to shove, if we elect principled elected officials, we don't have to worry about what's going to happen when they discover fraud, regardless of what party that it is. And I have a very clear record of discovering fraud as county auditor and taking it to the mass and exposing it. And again, that's what they don't want. If you want a government official who doesn't want you to take them, or you sit in front of them taking notes, red flag should go up. They work for you, and keep it open and honest, and you have every right to record what they're saying at a public meeting.
Thank you. Next question is for Mr. Corrigan. Are you familiar with Paul Ryan's roadmap? If so, what do you see as its strength and weaknesses, and will you vote for it?
Yeah, absolutely. If you go to Paul Ryan's website, he's the congressman from Wisconsin. He has a hybrid flat tax modification to the existing code, simplifies the code, actually brings in more revenue, but makes it simpler for everybody to process their taxes. We have an IRS code that's the playground for our elected representatives. It's a code that started, actually, income taxes started under Lincoln in the Civil War, and then they were terminated about 6 years later, and then restarted back in 1913. Federal income tax was 1% on earners over $200,000, and look what we have today. What we have to do is have some kind of simplified tax code. What Congressman Ryan's trying to do is trying to streamline it, make it a lot more simple, and take away the partisan nature of the whole tax code. I'm going to lead into something else here, which is going to surprise you. This is exactly what's going to happen with the healthcare code. The tax code today is gamed, and businesses figure out ways around it in order to survive. Businesses will figure out a way around the tax code, the healthcare law, in order to survive. We're going to have a healthcare bill healthcare legislation that's going to grow from 2,200 pages, 2,800 pages to 280,000 pages. I believe in my lifetime. So yeah, I support any effort to reduce and simplify anything in the tax code, not just the tax code. A lot of these government agencies that we talked about